This is an old story. This has been going on for hundreds of years. They will keep coming, and whether we're there or not, they will put to sea.
Crossing was just like taking the giant leap. Nobody knew what was going to happen, how it would happen. We just sat down and hoped for the best.
We've seen some bad sights and people have died. We've watched people drown. Some nights you go to sleep and it's hard to get it out of your head.
Passing this one to make sure that the revs, they keep quite low.
In late September, the crew of the Samuel Beckett were deployed to the central Mediterranean to begin Ireland's 6th humanitarian mission. But for many of the ship's 57 crew, this is their first time.
Once we encountered our first rubber craft and brought the people on board, it hit me then, the level of what the mission was going to be and how hard it was going to be.
Previous missions have developed a protocol that begins when a migrant boat is spotted. But the crew won't know what they're dealing with until their RIB teams make contact.
There is an adrenaline rush there, wondering how's it going to go? Is it going to be a good rescue? Is it going to be a bad rescue? Is everything going to go off without a hitch, or are people going to drown?
The first day we were directed to investigate a possible rubber boat. This was in an area to the east of Tripoli. Launched our 2 boats and had gone over to do the initial assessment to see about the state of the boat, how many people, whether there was medical issues. We follow a kind of a procedure each time when we make contact.
It is the pointy end of the stick. We're the first ones to encounter the migrants. We need to calm the situation. We need to try and make the ship aware of what's going on as quickly as possible so as they can make command decisions.
Come a bit more out to port. Yankee, missed 2. Personnel are a little bit agitated at the moment, just waiting to calm down. Report will follow. Over.
Yankee, Roger, standing by.
A bit closer there, so. Okay, yes, you're safe, Calm down, sit down. Everybody sit down.
Weather conditions were okay. As we went over, we were expecting things to play out just as we had been briefed. We would go over, we would rescue them, we would be heroes, simple. It didn't work out like that.
We go to Italy. Life jackets, 1 for everybody, so calm down.
No, sit, everybody sit.
No, everybody. 1 for everybody, so calm down.
Stop.
Hey, sit down. Hey! Calm it! Everybody has jackets. Calm down. Calm. We are safe. We go to Italy. Hey, everybody, we have jackets. Calm down. We have. Hey. Calm it. We have jackets. Look behind you. Yeah, starboard chamber is deflated here, sorry. Hey! Oh, we're starting to go. Hey! In the water, 1 in the water there. They're all starting to go on that fucking starboard side. Right, we have a fella there, no life jacket ahead of us.
The side of the boat collapsed, and about 30 people were washed into the sea in front of us. And the big problem is these people, they've never seen the ocean, they've never seen the sea, and they panic. And you have people within the raft who are safe panicking and wanting us to go to them. You have people in the water screaming, but because they're screaming, they're okay. And it's the people who are not screaming you have to try and get to first and try and get them out of the water.
We were only, I suppose, there a number of minutes, and it had gone completely wrong from what we had been hoping. We were now faced with looking at people drowning there in front of us that didn't have life jackets. The first thing I suppose I seen out of the corner of my eye was a woman and child that were in the water. Both appeared to be drowned at that stage. And you know, it's the one thing you learn from all life-saving courses, you don't enter the water, but it was something I suppose I felt I had to do. I just couldn't stand by and watch this happen.
That child there is down. That child is there. We need to get in on him, Martin. We need to get in where you see the feet there, Martin. Yeah. Okay. Bring me in there, Martin. Martin!
Pull him in. Martin, get over there. Get over here.
Throw it into him, throw it into him. Listen!
Child.
I'll have to go.
Martin, in.
Back us in, Mark, back us in.
If we go together. Get him, Martin.
No! Stay there! Stay there!
Let go.
Hold on!
I have it. Let go. It's okay.
Hold on! You're okay! We're safe! Hold the boat! You okay? Okay. You okay?
Luckily the child regained breathing straight away. Diver Trimble began CPR, and the mother of the child that was recovered. And at this stage it was literally just moving to the next body that we could find there, recovering him. We witnessed people climbing on top of other people, pushing them under the water and literally drowning people. They were more than happy to have 2-3 buoyancy aids on and let the person beside them, you know, actually drown. It was horrific, you know, it was something we had never witnessed.
Trying to make decisions and you make calls that you don't know are right. Looking back at them now, but they were right at the time. You kind of have to look and decide, okay, do I rescue this guy who's drowning currently, or he has a life jacket on, or do I go and do I drag the person who's lifeless in the water face down into the boat and try and resuscitate them? So you make split decisions, you do what you can.
Nearly there, Martin, nearly there. Go ahead slowly. Stay there. Hold your jacket. Stay there. Give him a hand there, body in. Make your jacket.
There was 2 heavily pregnant women that we took out of the water, but again, these women were face down, you know, we couldn't differentiate them from anyone else. It was literally, they were the closest to the boat, and that's who we retrieved.
And we didn't actually realise they were women or that they were pregnant until we actually hauled them out onto the deck, and they had both taken on water. They were both drowned. So you have about 3 minutes, you can save somebody, and that's what we started doing. We started working those 2 women.
Come on, breathe, mate.
Come on!
Martin, get in with that morning. Look out. Come on! That's it. Come on. You're back. Come on!
Come on!
Anything down, hold on, get breath control.
Come on! You okay?
Keep coming.
Come on! Squeeze my hand.
Come on. Let's go back to the ship. Get him up, lads. Don't let him in his back.
Okay, let's go. We're safe now, safe. Go to Italy. Safe.
There was 120 people, I think, on the boat. So we saved 110, 112. But it felt like a defeat when we came in. It's a real baptism of fire.
Au moment que j'étais dans mon pays, je ne savais pas que Libye était comme au moment que je l'ai trouvé. Parce qu'à Libye, j'ai senti là-bas qu'il n'y a pas il n'y a pas la loi, il n'y a pas une personne qui dirige, il n'y a pas un dirigeant là-bas. Au moment que j'étais là-bas, j'ai senti ça d'abord.
Libya is a place where you would go on the street and see a 5-year-old holding a gun. And they just treat, when it comes to black people, they treat us like anyhow. They call black people albeda, which means slave, I think, or black monkey, I don't even know. So they treat us badly there.
Ils ont mis le fusil ici. Après, j'ai dit une parole dédiée, comme nous les musulmans, comment dire, nous voulons dire la dernière parole avant de mourir, la ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. J'ai dit ça après. Il a entendu, c'était un arabe, il a entendu ce que j'ai dit, alors il m'a demandé, tu crois à ton Dieu? J'ai pas répondu, alors il a dit, si tu crois à ton Dieu, donc, parce que j'entendais un peu à l'arabe qu'il parlait, mais je ne peux pas parler, non, j'entendais un peu. Il a dit, maintenant, comme tu crois à ton Dieu, lui, il n'a qu'à te sauver ici. Après, il a posé le fusil ici, donc il a tiré 3 balles. Il a fait, donc il me faisait peur, il a tiré 3 balles directement au côté de mes oreilles, donc je me suis tombé directement parce que j'étais peur même, je croyais que je suis mort.
Cover Parker, Lethbridge. Bridge. Roger, network, major to be noticed.
We're just maintaining station off the boat so that once we have ribs in the water, then we can control the situation and we can carry out the assessment. But up until that point, we just maintain the same type of distance from the boat so they don't come in too close, and all of a sudden there's a bit of panic ensues because they get so close to the vessel that an accident can happen. So we wanted to maintain control of the situation at all times.
Ready on deck.
Launch way.
My
job is ship protection, so we would have already established in the area what forces are known and unknown. And that's my main job, is to monitor the environment and to see exactly what's going on and report directly back to command.
If we have fast vessels come out from Libya, possibly to try and scavenge back equipment so this can be reused again by the smugglers, we have to make sure that they don't present a threat to ourselves or to the migrants. My understanding is that they may have this vessel may have rang in to MRCC, to the Italian Coordination Centre for Search and Rescue, and that would only have happened in the last 40 minutes.
Listen up! Who speaks English here? Right, man with your hand up, come forward to me. No, behind you. Listen, turn off the engine. Is the engine off? Turn off the engine, okay? Listen to me. You are safe. Listen up. You are all safe. We will rescue you, bring you to Italy, you understand? Okay, now, you must be quiet and listen first. Everybody on the boat must get a life jacket first. Understand? Shut up! Quiet! Quiet! How many people on board? How many people?
They're reporting in here now in the background. So.
Bridge 4, goodbye, C. C is complete. Loaded. Charlie, approximately 130, 130. Lima, no. Mike, no.
Car! Hey! Easy! Stop it! You will tear the jacket! Easy!
While it may sound like it's heavy-handed, if we can get control of the situation quickly, it makes for things to be so smooth. It comes down to fear at the end of the day, and it's the fear of something going wrong. At no stage do any of us have a gripe with any of those migrants. We're out there to rescue them, and that's what we want to do.
Next thing, we are going to take the women first. Everybody calms. No one moves. You stay where you are.
They will do anything to get onto the boat. They're desperate at this stage. People feigning sickness, people offering you money, all kinds of crazy things. But they're frightened. Like I say, they've never seen the ocean before. They might as well be in space.
Any more women? Women! Get back! Get back! Get in the fucking boat! Pull away! Pull away! Pull away! You must calm down or we will go! Dermot, we'll try and take it from the aft there, yeah? Right, Marty, bring us back in on the aft and we'll start bringing him. It's dangerous there. That sounded like a loss of air there.
Floor in the actual rubber craft itself gave way and a number of migrants literally fell through the floor. The rest of them were floating inside in it.
Chamber gone, chamber gone. Right, grab him.
Where we were standing on the after deck waiting when everyone went into the water, you just hear the screams. They have whistles on their life jackets and you could just hear them blowing their whistles, roaring for help, and you're just standing there feeling helpless and hoping, praying that the boys are going to get to them in time. But yeah, the screams are definitely one thing I won't forget in a hurry. I'd say it's going to haunt me for a long time, to be honest.
Most people have gone into the water, we reckon 60 plus. And then it is just, there is no thinking about it, there is no head work to it, it is dog rough work. You just grab people, keep hauling them out, dead and alive, as fast as you can.
Come to me! Kick your legs! Come, 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 come! Come, keep kicking, keep kicking!
Obviously your initial reaction will be to jump into the water and swim over to them and pull them over to the boat, but you can't, and you have to really fight with yourself not to do that.
Kick, kick, kick! Mark! 2 swimmers, body behind them, blue and black life jacket! Get him, leave him go! Leave him go, we have! Get away from him!
Everyone I've seen drown, they have a white foamy substance coming out of their mouth, and the ones that you pull into the boat that we manage to resuscitate, it's like having a little feeling that you might get them back.
Right, return to ship there, mate.
I pulled one into the boat and I started CPRing him, and I knew straight away that he wasn't coming back. He was dead, totally dead. Every compression you were doing, every pump in his chest, there was just a cup full of water coming out of his mouth. So, it's...
Come on! No. Okay. Break, a little break there. Dermot, mask. Dermot, lift and strap, get this fella off first. Go on, breath.
The first rib is coming back to the ship. We've obviously got as many into that rib as we can, and the bridge holders, there's 2 on board that rib that need resuscitation. So it's very important that we get those out first and get them resuscitated if we can.
Alright, let me go, Reed.
Right. Second guy is okay, he's breathing again. First one still not breathing.
Okay. Who's next there? Get in by the strap, lads.
What we have is myself, the 2 other medics. You're doing everything you can for the first patient, and then when the second patient comes on board, you're spreading the medics out. So instead of having 3 on one, you're having 1 on one and 2 on the other. And then when the third casualty comes on board at the same time, you're now gone down to 1 medic per casualty. And then when the 4th comes on board, you have to make that decision that which one is the first guy, the second, the third, the fourth, which one gets the medical treatment.
Go. Okay, we're gone and clear. We're gone and clear, go, bilge pump on.
Quand le bateau s'est noyé, avant que le bateau irlandais ne vienne au secours, c'était affreux. Surtout au moment où vous étiez venus, parce que vous étiez venus au moment opportun. Ça a trouvé que l'eau était rentrée dans le bateau jusqu'au niveau du genou, de la jambe. Donc il y a les gens qui ne savent pas nager. Moi, je sais nager, mais je ne pouvais pas nager parce que je suis fatigué, j'ai faim et je ne tiens pas. J'ai essayé, mais j'ai avalé de l'eau. Donc finalement, je me suis accroché sur la corde du bateau au moment où vous étiez là pour secourir les gens.
We were working on him for 25 minutes to half an hour, and he came back. You're watching him come back on the defib because he's connected. You can see his heart rate, his pulse, everything, and then you're watching him breathing again, and then you're going from that to watching his heart rate just slowly go down to 0 again. And you start CPR again, and nothing comes back. And we got over the radio that there was people coming back for resuscitation because the divers in the boat were just overwhelmed trying to pull so many people out of the water at once and working on them.
Stay in the boat or you will die! These people are dying!
We were on the way back in the boat, and I was doing CPR on one of the dead, obviously. And there was another guy sitting beside me, and he was crying, and he was looking at what I was doing, and he kept crying and crying and crying. And then he put his hands over beside me to try and help me. And I was that exhausted, I just knocked his hands away. I didn't think about it. I just pushed his hands away, and I just said, just let me.
No, stop!
It turned out when we got back to the ship that it was his brother. I have a brother, just a year older than me, and that really hit home for me. I had to have a little walk into the Amazon, take a few moments to myself.
We had 5 casualties in total, and the captain made the call that he would like us to try and identify family members or anybody on board who was friends or related to them. And unfortunately, I was the medic on deck at that time, drew the short straws to collect up any migrants on board that had travelled on the rubber boat with family but were sitting on the deck, unfortunately, minus the family members. As we lined up the family members, we brought the first 2 guys, who were 2 brothers, up the stairs to the morgue area. But when the 2 of them came up to the top of the gangway, one of them collapsed down to his knees, and one of them was holding him and putting his hand over his face and waving towards the first 2 bodies on board. That they were actually both their younger brothers. So the family of 4 brothers had travelled together, but only the 2 older brothers had made it. Unfortunately, the 2 younger ones had been lost in the rescue. You separate them from the main group of migrants, give them time to sit down and gather themselves, give them as much time as they can with their brother before you have to send them back down to the main group. And there's other family members behind them that are waiting anxiously to try and find their family members, so we have to try and keep it moving. But I mean, how much time is enough time with 2 dead young brothers? I mean,
MRCC in Italy, in Rome, the Marine Coordination Centre, they'll decide which vessels kind of pool and transfer over, and those vessels then bring them to a place of safety back in Italy.
Il y avait des vagues, donc les vagues qui le soulevaient des fois même. J'ai eu peur. Mais après, j'étais avec mon ami et une personne que je lui demandais, je lui dis, est-ce que la météo est bonne? Mon ami l'a dit que même si la météo n'est pas bonne, ils vont nous embarquer. Alors ici aussi, on ne peut pas courir aussi pour échapper ici parce qu'ils ont des fusils. Quand tu cours ici, si tu perds de la mort, ils vont te tuer.
It's a very bad experience. Everything was very bad, and nobody knew what was going to happen, how it would happen. We just sat down and hoped for the best.
Yeah, keep going, keep going. Left, left, forward.
More to the right.
More to the right there, Browners. Keep her starboard side of the ribs. Roger, sir. Just left a touch.
It was just gone 3 a.m. when we were made aware of it, and I suppose, you know, it was something that was in the back of our minds. We had dealt with rubber crafts all along, and this was the first barge, and it was quite daunting. I suppose if something goes wrong there, you know, there's nothing 2 ribs can do. There's going to be, you know, huge fatalities there, and that was a huge fear.
That's the pid, and you can see there the bodies along the top there.
Unbelievable to see how many people were crammed into this. You know, we just, you know, we had heard about these barges. You know, none of us had physically seen, I suppose, an actual barge up close with that amount of migrants on it before.
The decision is that we're going to distribute the personal flotation devices to as many as possible. That'll take a considerable amount of time because of the sheer number we're dealing with here, and then we will consider embarking onto our own ribs and bringing them back on board this ship. But that will be, most likely, we'll nearly be at first light at that stage, which will be a better situation to try and coordinate removing the women and children from the barge.
This boat, everybody here that we can see, or are there people below decks? Are there people underneath, no?
People inside the boat.
400 inside and 400 here, yes?
So how many in total?
800 we got. 800 Dermot up. We are all safe. We all go to Italy, okay? We get food and drink on the ship, okay? All is good. Okay? 2 seconds. We are all safe, okay? We are good. Is there any children down there?
You can see there we have a Libyan Coast Guard vessel approaching on our starboard side there. So at this stage we don't know where his loyalties actually lie. He could be hostile, so we're prepared in the eventuality that he does decide to fire or that he is hostile.
Vessel continuing to draw from left to right, ranges opening.
Yeah, I see that. That's what I was asking. The jackals are coming from Libya. There's a vacuum of security and law and order there, which is why it's been used as your launch pad, or effectively your terminal building, for want of a better expression, for all the migrants coming out into the central Mediterranean. We have military helicopters in the air, and we also have a Spanish frigate just off our stern.
So now the target is starting to move away from us now, but we'll continue to monitor contact until we're happy that it's gone and clear.
This morning, so far, since we started on this, all around us we have 3,000 people who are either being rescued or have been rescued already. And again, as I said, it's only coming up on 10:30. So I don't think the day is finished yet.
Are we in punch here? In punch? Okay. Calm down!
Some stories are very harrowing, and they have travelled for months. A lot of people have travelled for months across the ground into cars or kept in cages or holes for months or weeks before they even see a ship. And then just spun a fairy tale that it might only take 3 to 4 hours in that boat to get to Italy, which isn't the case at all. The boat might not even survive the 3 or 4 hours in the water.
Some boats we find that they wouldn't get anything more than about 50 miles off the coast with the fuel that they have on board. Yet you're talking about another 400 kilometres at least to get to an Italian port or an Italian shore.
10 days off. That's what it's all about,
When you give them a teddy bear, you can see their eyes opening up. It's like a child on Christmas Day. First time they see a toy probably in a long time. But it's some simple little gesture like that, a small teddy bear, which has been donated to the ships to bring out here from people at home, is a big deal for them then, you know.
What's heartbreaking for me as a parent, I suppose, is looking at these young children that don't have any say in whether they're going to travel or not. We've seen children 6, 7 days old, you know, and it's horrifying, you know, because we've seen what can go wrong, and just, I suppose, to have that thought in the back of your head that, you know, these children could die, you know, quite quickly is terrible.
At the moment, there's a lot of them have scabies. We were going to separate them, but because they're after being on the barge anyway for a couple of hours together, it's probably after spreading. So our best bet is try to keep the families together, because there's a couple of lads, small boys there, that have it as well. And if we took them away from their mothers, they'll get upset. So the best thing to do is keep them there, and when they go ashore, try to get them treated as quick as possible.
We had 265 people embarked from the barge. It was going to be a very slow process with the sheer numbers involved. The reports from the RIB at the time was that people were getting agitated. The decision was made that we would try and raft the barge up to the side of the ship so that it would be secured to the side of the ship. Now, this has its own dangers, whereby if we don't control the migrants that are still on board, you can actually topple or capsize the barge.
It looked as if it was never ending. When the barge was finally taken alongside the ship, you know, the upper deck of the barge still appeared to be full. We'd, you know, 300 people on the ship at that stage, and it didn't look to be, you know, receding at any sense.
We had to put our RIB teams in amongst the migrants to make sure that people didn't move from below up onto the deck, because there was a risk of stability to that boat, and the ship would have been severely hamstrung if you had that barge capsize and 500 people end up in the water.
They knew they were being rescued, and of course they all want to get off. It's a bit like a Ryanair flight. Everybody stands up.
Hold off now, lads! Get down! Stay there!
And had they done that, our fear was the vessel would capsize. In any crisis situation, 80% of people will follow a leader, 10% will be the leaders, and 10% will do something daft. So if you can be the 10% leading and keep the people doing the crazy things from not taking control, then you would probably control the situation.
Sit down! Sit down! Stop moving!
This is why we do everything slow. Last year, one of these turned upside down. Everybody underneath died, and only 120 people were rescued from deck. Everybody else drowned.
Eventually we started to take people off, and it was crowded with people. There was Somali, Eritrean, Ethiopian, South Sudan, everything on board it. A complete mix, which brought its own problems later on as well.
Stay there!
ኣብ ኤርትራ ተቃዋሚ ሕግን ኮንስቲቱሽንን ስለዘየለ እቲ ዘሎ ዲፊት ፑሽ ናይ መንግስቲ ኤርትራዊ ጉጅለ ኣነ መንግስቲ የብሎ ናይ ጉጅለ ዕቁብ ንእሽተ ጉጅለ ሰብ ፍሉይ ረብሓ ገደብ ዘይብሉ ግዱድ ዕዮ ዕስክርና ሚሊታሪ ስለ ዘሎ እዩ ካብ ኤርትራ ክግደድ ብካምፕ እስራኤል ብግብፂ ብኬንያ ናይሮቢ ናብ ዶብ ተኪሶምና ክልተ ሰባት ካባና ሞይቶም ደቂ ዓደይ ማለት እዩ ኣነ ወፅአ እያሃ ዝበሃል ኣትየ
ዕድሜ ከዓ 16 ዝኾነ በቃ ምዕባለ ሰብሰባን ኩሉ ተማሂረ እኩል ሰብ ክኾን ሰብ ዘርፍጥራ ካብ ዓዲ ወፅኡ ዝኾነ ካብ ዓደይ ደፍል ምክንያት ኣይነበረን ምዕባለ ሲኖ ትምህርቲ ይብሉ ኣነ ድማ ተማሂረ እኩል ሰብ ክኾን ሰብ ዝደልየ ካብ ሃገር ወፅኡ ምክንያት ኩሉ እንተና ቦላ ትምህርታ ኩሉ ዝኾነ ከዓ ሰማዓ ኩላስ ብጀርበና ተማሂረ በቃስ እኩል ሰብ ክኾን እዩ ዝደልየ
When we came on board, we managed to get down to these hatches and find the people underneath. And we managed to push people away from these hatches in order to get air into it, to the people underneath, that they didn't suffocate. It's over 300.
Over 300 in this thing.
It's over 300. It's amazing they survived. It's amazing.
It really is.
Just they were... To get through, you had to slide across people. Lying down, lying like this across, back, forth, back, back, back. All here. There's people like this, huddled up in the corner, and then people lying, like down. Crazy stuff.
After we have taken everybody from the rubber boats or the barges, we would effectively sink them. What could happen is you have ships going over to investigate what turns out to be empty boats when you have still boats with people in it that hasn't been spotted yet. We deem them a hazard to navigation, we would sink them. But furthermore, these boats are recycled. They tend to be brought back in by the jackals and they're reused by the smugglers.
They want this back. This is worth over £1 million to them. They're not getting it. No way are they getting it. So I think the plan now is to cut the whole transom out of it, possibly set fire to it, possibly sink it with chainsaws.
$5,000 I pay. From Sudan, Libya, $5,000. عشان في صحباتي ماتوا كمان في السهرة. قعدنا في المخزن واحد شهر. واحد شهر ذا مرة عذاب كان يموتوا كثير ناس إريتريين صوماليين إثيوبيين يموتوا يعني خلاص ما حد يعرف حتى بعد دفعوا فلوسهم يكسروا فلوس ويموتوا كمان يكسروا حياتهم كمان يعني
አንተን መምጣት ያለብን በምን አይነት መንገድ እዛ እንደደረሰ በምን አይነት መከራ እንደደረሰ በምን አይነት ችግር እንደደረሰ ምን በልቶ ምን ጠጥቶ በምን አይነት ትራንስፖርት እንደሄደ በምን አይነት መንገድ እንደገባ ማወቅ ያለ ረሃብ ያለ ዲቃላ ያለ ፍላጎት መደፈር ገና ከመንገድ ስትመጪ ከሱዳን ቦርደር ጀምሮ ነው ይሄ ነገር ያለው ከሱዳን ቦርደር ጀምሮ መደፈር ያለው ከዛ ጀምሮ እዚህ ጋር ስትመጪ ማንም ያንቺን ድምጽ የሚያዳምጥሽ የለም በቃ ማንም ማለት ነው ብለሽ ስትጮሂ መሳሪያ ነው እዚህ ጋር ደቀኑ
بس لا تيجوا بعد كده لا تيجوا اجلسوا بلدكم أي شيء صار لا تطلعوا من بلدكم بس especially for God so hard
The maximum amount of personnel we've ever had on board was 652 and this was 770 odd and it was crazy. Like, I mean, there was people up on the top deck, there was people up forward, there was people down both sides. We had no choice but to put them everywhere and anywhere. It started off as just one collapse, brought them up to the medic station and No sooner had I put them down and we're getting a second call for a second person and a third person and so on for the rest of the day.
It's heat stroke, it's just they're not taking on enough fluids. Despite the fact there's ample amount of water and deoxylate down there, they're just staying in one spot. They're afraid to move in case they lose their spot because there's so many people on board, and they're just not getting up and not taking on enough fluids. And obviously they've been out in the sun on the rib before they got rescued here, and they're out in the sun walking up and down here. They're just losing too much fluid and not replenishing it. The body system just can't take it. The brain overheats and just shuts down to save itself.
She was 10 years old and she was up and down to us a good few times. She was refusing to drink liquids for her parents, who themselves were fairly dehydrated because the same story, they were afraid to lose their space to go get water. And it turned out eventually that, as all children would recognise, we brought up a jar of Nutella. And as soon as we opened a jar of Nutella, her eyes perked up and she looked straight towards us. And she sat there and she ate most of the jar of Nutella. And then afterwards, because of the consistency of Nutella, she was thirsty, so she started to drink. So we just kept force feeding her chocolate and water till she was safe and better before we sent her back down.
We recovered 772 people from the barge. There was no casualties, no fatalities. Every one of us came back. We were so proud of it, you know, and I know myself personally, I went for a shower that evening and came back up and just sat in my cabin and broke down in tears. No idea why, but you know, it was just, I think, a relief that everything had went so well. The mental strain, I don't think it has hit any of us fully yet, you know. It's only when we get home, I suppose, that we get a chance to think about this properly, you know, and I think at that stage we'll hit. But, you know, the Defence Forces have a good setup. They have PSS staff that come out and visit us. There's a helpline that we can ring at any stage. So, you know, and that's encouraged, you know. And not only that, you know, your fellow shipmates, that's, I suppose, your first line of defence. You'll sit down, have a cup of tea with them, have a chat, and it makes all the difference talking about it, I feel.
That's lowest, that's lowest. Brilliant. Put it back on the heat now again, lads. Just give it a taste, you know? See what you like. Don't put the spoon back in, lads. More sugar. This is 55 litres. I forecast about 5 of these, you know? A lot of the chefs use pasta, but I don't know, I feel myself this size of a galley, washing pasta, cooking pasta would be just too much, you know what I mean? And I did ask the lads, you know what I mean, did they like the porridge? And they seem to like the porridge, yeah, you know. They seem to like it, and you know, so like they're not getting a lot of it. They're getting 8 ounces, you know. So you know, I mean, look, if you're hungry, you will eat anything, won't you? You know. Yeah, look, there's tea towels there. Make sure that the rib is clean. Hey, put it back out so we can see it. Put it out so we can see it. Right, outside so we can see it. Only one. Any sleep to shit, you're not getting anything. Right, only one per person. Everyone has to be fed.
Yeah, you can start coming back to the watertight door there.
Yeah.
ما سماوي هنا تقرأ الكزين بلارة إيه بارو معهم من يبلا Take it, Mary, take it. What is the name of the sea? This Mediterranean.
Mediterranean?
Okay.
Mediterranean is not in Eritrea?
لا لا لا.
They've been told they're 4 hours from Italy when they leave the beaches, and they can't understand why they're still on board a ship 3 nights later. So it can be quite difficult, and again we have to control all the migrants on board.
You always think at the back of your head, what's my best way of escaping here if something kicks off? The initial thing is to search your authority the minute they come on board. Your job then is to keep them safe at all times. And sometimes if being the arsehole up on deck then you have to be that arsehole, you know, in order to make sure control is there all the time.
Down there where everyone can see her. Put it into this messing once and for all.
She was beating a woman in the head, so I just jumped in. I pulled her out of the crowd. I separated her, but she didn't seem too remorseful, so I came beside her there to the afterday. I'd say she won't do it again, to be honest.
Control is extremely important. When there's 772 on board, there's 7, maybe 8 people up on deck looking after those, so it's 1 to every 100 people.
We had Christians and Muslims. Particularly noticed that the Christians, some of the Eritreans, decided that they were on a Christian ship, so that they were top dogs, and suddenly were taking out their crucifixes and holding them out and sort of staring at particularly at the Somali women who were Muslim. Particularly the women were the ones who were fighting because they were all together down aft, while the men had separated out and kept away from each other. But it's amazing, they've just come from this life-threatening situation and they're still willing to kick off against each other. That I can't understand sometimes.
Quand j'ai vu la terre, je croyais pas, je croyais que je suis dans des rêves, mais c'est pas la première. Je fais ici une semaine, plus de 2 semaines comme ça. Je prenais une chaise, je sortais, je m'assoyais au dehors, je regardais d'une seule façon. Les éducateurs venaient me demander si je suis malade, mais je croyais que je suis dans des rêves.
A satellite distress call has been received from a rubber boat with approximately 130 persons on board.
We had been tasked that morning by the Italian Coast Guard to proceed to a rubber vessel approximately 60 miles away. While we were proceeding to that location, we came across another rubber craft.
Just popped up, we came across them, to be honest with you. Whatever way, just caught the corner of me, spotted another small craft coming up from Libya. Even up to 2 or 3 miles away, they'd be still hard enough to spot because they're so low down the water.
Do you think that there are inflatable craft out there that were never spotted, you know?
Oh, 100%. 100%. A lot of them. So there's vessels that came out there, we heard last year, we found 2 vessels and we heard there's 3 vessels went out and we only picked up 2, like, just gone, like, without a trace, gone.
MEO 100, MEO 100.
No, wait. No, mother.
We went over to the rubber craft, and while we were in the area, the second one came up on radar close by as well.
Unfortunately, the reports are already showing that the numbers of fatalities and number of drownings are up this year compared to last year, and we're not even at the end of the year. So it is a stark reality of the situation down here.
It's okay.
So this was 260 people that the Italian Coast Guard weren't aware of, that there had been no distress signal went out from, and it was just by luck that we had actually come across these 2 boats.
We were told 4 hours. That's not really, we heard it from people like from Libya to Italy, 4 hours, so we really had hope on 4 hours we'll be there. But it was so unfortunate, like after 4 hours we were still on top of the sea. Later we discovered that there was no cell phone, so we all started praying and crying. We saw the rescue and, you know, amazing.
It's just really God all the way. Just God. It's just God. Because if not for God, wow.
Dean!
It It was a small little rubber dinghy that you'd see around Cork Harbour. They had 20 males squashed into it. The back chamber on the port side was already deflating.
Sit down. He will call you. He is in charge. No, wait. Wait. You can bring this, yes. Just wait, okay?
We had to embark them straight away because the actual dinghy that they were in, it was in fear of sinking, you know. And it's horrifying to, you know, that if we had kept going or not seen these vessels, there's no doubt those 20 people would have died within the hour.
Right, bring us in on a mark. Fucking lunatic. At the engine if you can, Mark.
Nous savons qu'il y a des grands bateaux qui nous attendent à mer. Dès le départ, nous savons.
En fait, on a entendu parler qu'il y a l'Union européenne qui a déployé assez de moyens pour sauver les vies des migrants sur la mer Méditerranéenne.
I was talking to one girl. She was travelling for 3 years because she wants to go to Germany and study. She had really good English. She was really well educated, and she was actually one of the people who knew how far Italy and Libya were away from each other. And yeah, I realised, but we were told we'd be picked up. And you have to explain to them that that's not the case. That there's no guarantee they'll be picked up. Like, there's kids that aren't picked up all the time, I'd imagine. And what happens then? Either they starve or drown, or their kids will capsize in bad weather.
You do think, what about all the vessels that haven't been found? If you could take all the water out of that area, imagine all the people that are lying on the bottom of the seabed, or all those lost boats. It's a harrowing picture to paint.
What we're doing won't solve the situation, but this is an old story. This has been going on for hundreds of years in various forms. Our own history has shown that. While Libya is in crisis, this will continue. They will keep coming, and whether we're there or not, they will put to sea.
Well, I hope they all live long, happy lives. We didn't save them for nothing. Like, they're safe. Maybe they won't be rich. Maybe they won't be millionaires. You know, but they'll be happy. They'll be glad. You can see it on their face once they see Italy.
En Europe, j'espère, c'est réaliser mes rêves. Oui. Réaliser mes rêves. Avoir une famille, bon, fonder une famille. Oui. Travailler. Bon, moi, je suis un sportif. Oui. Je fais la boxe. Donc, je compte s'immerger dans ça en Europe.
It's very straightforward from our perspective that it's a humanitarian and search and rescue. The European solution is at a political level as to economic migrants or not, or economic refugees, or whatever the terminology that they tend to use.
You know, sometimes the smallest thing back home we'll complain about, the smallest thing. If you haven't enough money for your diesel at the end of the week, you're moaning about it. Or if you haven't got enough money to go drinking, you're moaning about it. You're now looking at these people, it's trivial.
They have this belief that they're going to a better life. That may or may not be the case. And that when they land in Italy, everything will be wonderful. Not that they will be processed immediately, and if they're maybe sent home, for depending on where they're from and what their story is.
If you knew before you left your home that it was going to be so dangerous and so hard, would you still have made the journey?